Welcome to the Wing Life Podcast, where we talk about wing foiling and the lifestyles of those who enjoy this great sport. Hey, Remi, thanks for joining me today and taking the time.
Yeah, really my pleasure. Really cool to be with you today on your podcast. I did listen to a few of them, and really it's exciting to share life and experience with you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I think that's the super fun thing about having longer format conversations is we can talk about topics, but also because the wind world is growing and there's so much new stuff, especially in the protection world, that's coming out with all of our new sports. So I'm really looking forward to kind of deep diving into that with you and seeing where the conversation goes.
Exactly. Cool.
Well, how did this even get started?
I guess when I was born.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I am in my 50s. So I was born in southern France. I'm actually half French and half Swiss. My father is French and my mother is Swiss. And actually, my family has been always driven by sailing and winter sports. So that's the two main activities we were doing in the family. My family is really, my father is an early adopter for both worlds. He was mountaineering at the end of the 40s, so really early, and he was sailing in the 50s. So really been always on the snow or on the water, passionate. And myself, so I enjoyed being on water very early, as we had this monthly summer holiday on our sailing boat across Mediterranean Sea. So that was always great memories and great experience. So I loved being on water, and I started sailing Optimist when I was 6 years old. You know, the Optimist is this little kind of squarish boat, dinghy boat that everyone is starting on in Europe and I guess around the world. So I started racing on Optimist from 8 to 12 and really enjoyed that. So my father in 77 came back home with this strange surfboard with a sail on. It was a windsurfer. And it's funny because the board was yellow at that time. You know, it was a polyethylene board. And it was really new. It was completely new. And as I was quite tall at that time, I mean, I was 10 years old, I managed to try it and to host the mast really hardly and reach this wooden wishbone and really had many crashes and many falls. But had a good time enjoying this windsurfer. So much that when I was 13 and a bit too tall for Optimist sailing, I switched to windsurfing. And I was doing a bit of skateboarding. I was doing a bit of snowboarding as well. At that time, it was quite popular. That was in the 80s, popular in Europe, in as well as in the US actually. And so naturally, I went to windsurfing, started to race on a class called Open. It's an open class. It was a very fat board that was a long board, very round, looks like a beluga. And you were going upwind, doing kind of Olympic between three boys racing. And that was fun. I mean, hard to stay on the board when you were going downwind. No jibes, it was only racing, but it was pretty cool. And so that brought me to my 80s, where I had to focus a bit more on my studies. You have to.
I was going to ask.
In my family,
what did you take at school?
Yeah, well, actually, in my family, you have to know we are engineers from father to son since 4 generations.
Okay.
So I had some pressure,
wow.
I had some pressure to keep the path. And so I did an engineering school. I really enjoyed it because it's really my passion, mechanical engineering school. And during the studies, I had the chance to meet a very cool teacher who guided me into innovation process and patent filing. So he said, okay, it's good to learn, but it's also good to open your mind and try to bring some innovation. And at that time, snowboarding at the end of the 80s was starting to be really a big success. If you remember, and you may not remember that, but the 80s was the big boom of windsurfing. Like in Europe, everybody was having a windsurf and was enjoying windsurfing, not funboarding, but really windsurfing, with these big boards. And at the end of the 80s, with what happened is the funboard really went to the roof, and the guys in Hawaii were doing huge jump and so on. So I guess the normal windsurfer was a bit lost and lost a bit of interest into the basic windsurfing. And at that time, it was the right time where many companies switched from windsurfing to snowboarding, because that was the next cool sport to be in. After skiing, everybody jumped into snowboarding. And at that time, the technology was very basic, the way you were fixed on the snowboard, and it was quite easy to bring some innovation. So that was my way in this engineering school. I said, okay, I'm going to try to innovate the way you fix your boots on a board. And I had the chance to apply for two different patents at that time for boards. Yes, for very interesting. And maybe because I have a little skill also in marketing and sales, but I managed to sell these patents. The first one I sold to a windsurfing company. So I think it will be interesting. It's a company called Seabright. It's the company actually that invents the connection of the boom on the mast. So in the past, before the 80s, the boom was fixed on the mast by a rope. And the boom was moving like that and was like awful. And those guys, Francois, had the idea to fix the boom on the mast with a cable and with a latch, same kind of latch that you have on a ski boot. So suddenly the connection between a boom and a mast became super strong, super stiff, fantastic to ride, because you could hold on the boom and really accelerate. So it was really a deal breaker, and he's been quite successful on that. Unfortunately, he didn't patent. So he did patent this cable, but didn't thought about a rope. So actually, people came with a rope instead of a cable, and the rope actually was better because it was a little bit forgiving, where the cable was so stiff that sometimes when you were jumping and the cable was breaking. Where with a rope, it's a bit more forgiving. And so he has been very successful, but unfortunately could not protect his idea enough, and copied a lot. And this is right now still a system that is used across windsurfing. I'm sure you're using this system still every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, using it now. So innovation is one thing, but then learning about the process of patenting your ideas obviously is just as important as the innovation itself, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's right. When you have a patent, basically you have an idea. So to go into a process of innovation, you need to be curious. You need to be open-minded. You need to look at the problem, understand the problem, to talk with the people, and then after you can be a genius, and then this is the perfect idea that is jumping into your head, and you have the innovation and you will patent it. So that's one way. But the most common way is you try to see first if it has been made already. Is there a solution for the problem? And if there is no solution, what you do is you look at the different sports, you look at different environment around you, and you try to find the solution elsewhere, And most of the time, when you know the problem, when you know a bit of technology and you see what's going on elsewhere, you are connecting the dots and you find the right solution to solve your problem. And most of the time, this is quite innovative, the way you are picking ideas, like himself, he had the idea of the latch of a ski boot to adapt on the boom to connect to the mast. So this is how you get innovation. So, and to protect your innovation, you need to file a patent. And what is interesting is the cost of a patent is quite cheap for the first 2 years. Basically, you have a window of 1 or 2 years where you're gonna write your patent. And what you need to be very careful is to write the claims. The claims is at the end of the patent. This is really what you are patenting, what is really innovation. And here you need to have some advice from a patent attorney because it's quite important to write them well. The rest of the patent you can write yourself because it's just text explaining what you want to do. And when those ones are done and you have applied for a patent, what you need to do is you need to find someone to buy the patent as quickly as possible because it becomes very costly after 1 or 2 years. At the start, it's the same cost for everyone.
Okay.
You are Coca-Cola, you are Boeing, or you are Remi. It will cost you the same money to apply for a patent. But then after, to maintain a patent, this is costing a lot. So this is what I have done, and this is an advice that I could share with your auditors. If once you have an ID and you have the chance to patent your ID, you need to be very quick into the industrialization and to find someone to support you if you don't have too much money, because it will suddenly cost so much that you will not able to maintain your patent. And you're going to narrow your patent to maybe one country, and you're going to lose all the opportunities. So that's what I've done, and it did work well. You see, so that's the way to go. So I sold this patent to François, to this company, Seabright, and that was the first binding, snowboard binding. And then I had this second patent that I sold to Nidecker. It's a Swiss brand. It was a little bit like the Burton of Europe. It was. Have you heard about Nidecker? It's a snowboard brand. No. It's quite well known worldwide. I mean, it's a Swiss company. At that time, it was number one in Europe, and that made me come to that made me quit France to start to work in Switzerland because I had this Swiss passport, and I just landed in this beautiful village where I am talking to you right now. It's Rolle. It's by the Lake of Geneva. I mean, this is the biggest lake in Europe. We are facing the Mont Blanc and the chain of the Alps, and this is a great place to stay. Very beautiful. Very, very cool place. So great. Great experiences as a start of my career. I mean, switching from this engineering school to my first job in Nidecker, designing product, designing snowboard bindings, boots, and other accessories. Very, very interesting. And basically after
that would have been pretty cool.
Yeah, fantastic time on the snow. When you work in your passion, you don't feel like you are working. It's really fantastic, and I've been lucky since the start of my career. I always been enjoying working. As I was not working, I was just being in my passion, trying
playing.
to do exactly playing.
You're playing with stuff. How did the idea of Forward WIP come to be?
Yes, that came a bit later on. So after Nidecker, I switched to Salomon. I've done a bit of marketing. I did a lot of research and development, and I said now I need to understand a bit more the marketing, because if you can have a kind of double competency, it's very interesting because you know how to design, and marketing is about understanding the need. So if you can design what people need, then it's really, really good. So I've been to this company Salomon. You may know it from the winter sports that is now very big in footwear and so on. And this is a great school. I mean, it was a kind of live school in Salomon. I mean, I was the snowboard marketing manager, and I really learned as I was working more about marketing and how you develop a range. I was flying around the world, having focus group with riders, with users, asking what they need, if they like what we are doing, about the cosmetic, about the functionality, and so on. So I've been fantastic, great time in Salomon, learning about the market in Japan, in US, and Europe. Fantastic time, and then in 2005, I decided to to start my own company. I knew how to develop, I knew how to market. So I said, let's start something. And I have started a design studio with a friend. And the idea was to develop sport products from really A to Z. So really from design, concept cars to industrialization, making tooling, and then following the product and the project till finding the factory, working with the best factory out there, and going to the end. So this is my design studio where I'm doing that. And in 2013, I've been contacted by Oracle, the America's Cup team. At that time, the America's Cup was in San Francisco, if you remember. And through connection, they approached me and said, Remi, we need protection. Because what happened at that time is the sailing went into a new era. It was a kind of revolution. The boats start to fly. So that is a complete breakthrough. And the first time they were trying their boat, they capsized, and they were in t-shirt with normal gear, sailing gear that they used to have, and then they capsized very badly, broke the boat in pieces, and some guys had hard time to go away, and everybody was safe, but really a very risky situation. So as they were rebuilding the boat, they contact me and said, okay, we need to have some protection on board because it's a different sport. We are entering a completely different game. We are sailing at 40 knots over the water. So like 80 kilometers, we are in danger. So we need to protect ourselves. So at that time, I made some helmets for them. I made some impact vests for them. And actually, I'm still having that in the ranch. This impact vest is with all these rips was exactly the one used by Oracle team during the America's Cup. So it's still in our range today. So doing that, I realized that there were an opportunity. There were an opportunity because when you want to make a new brand in equipment, like for instance in water sports, it's very hard because you have a very good brand out there. I mean, you have Mystic, you have Ion, you have Neil Pride, you have so many guys doing already a good job. You have all the surfing brand for neoprene. So I mean, unless you have a lot of money, unless you have an incredible idea, I mean, it would be very, very hard to kick off a new brand competing with the same game as the others. But as the market was opening to a new era, when there is a revolution in the market, when there's a technical revolution, it opens up a new opportunity. And I've seen this opportunity. I said it's going to be a revolution, not only in sailing, it's going to be in board sports, it's going to be on anything on water. The foiling is going to bring people going so fast on water that they will need protection. And this is why I did create in 2015 this company called Forward WIP for Water Impact Protection.
That's what it's for.
Yeah, this is how it stands for. So Water Impact Protection, we are the specialists of protecting people. So basically we are a little bit, I would say our mission is to be the protecting angel to allow anyone to go fast on water in a safe way, in a safe mind way, So because we realize that when you feel safe, when you are comfortable with what you are wearing and you feel confident, then you will not stress. Stress is bringing mistakes, is maybe forcing the fault, it's forcing the fall. But when you feel a bit more confident, then you can, at this fraction where you are between falling and not falling, you will keep running and you will keep pushing and progressing in your sport because you feel good, you feel safe. And of course, it's not 100% guarantee, but at least you feel safe to hurt yourself less. And we try to design the equipment. What I like to say is somewhere God made us to run at 20 kilometers, to walk, run and swim.
Yeah.
But actually, we are not doing that. We are doing much more than that because we have some crazy ideas. And actually, with all the sports we are doing, like for instance, on water sports, we are like just sailing, riding at more than 30 knots, more than 50, 60 kilometers on the water. That was not the plan. And for this,
Nope.
you know,
That's a very good point. That was not. No, we did not think that would happen.
so that's
That's
why I
true.
mean you need to have a little bit of extra protection that you were designed
Yes.
for, and this is our mission. So basically, we are creating the exoskeleton, the extra protection that you need to cope with what you are doing, because you are not just running at 20 kilometers doing your jogging or whatever. You are doing something serious. You are going on water
Good
that
point.
is hard as concrete, with maybe a wing, a knife below your feet that may come back to you. So that's our mission. This is what we are doing since 10 years now, almost 10 years, and we have great fun doing it. Yes, that's really really cool.
Oh, that's exciting. What is forward? Like, what's the forward part in your name?
Ah, yes, good question. I mean, before that, I was doing another project that was called Forward Sailing. So forward
Mm.
is about because I'm a windsurfer, like I explained, and so the forward loop was always, the ultimate kind of
Okay. That I
ultimate
figured it was
trick
that.
that you want to do. So,
Yes.
and it's also forward thinking, and going forward is better.
Yep. Yep.
And so I had a project called Forward Sailing where I was designing fat head sails for sport catamaran. So
Hmm.
the goal and still existing actually. We are quite successful with it. So you can check on the web, Forward Sailing. So we are creating sails to give a second life to all catamaran. All these hobby cat, dart, and all these sports catamaran that you are using during your holidays, and just trying to have good feeling on a boat going fast on water. All those catamarans were designed with round, sails. The leash is round. When the new sails are square, you have a square top, and this allow you to catch more wind, especially when you go downwind. You want to have the sail completely full and catch the wind. And when you are up, like a windsurf sail, the sail will twist, and then you will have less power. So it's good because you are going against the wind, so it's better. So I did develop this forward sailing brand, and that's good because it's quite sustainable in the way that you don't just throw away your old hobby cat. You have a chance to bring new cells, new, a little bit like, for your car. You have new rims that are beautiful, and your car suddenly, your old car looks better, and also is steering better on the road. The same with the cells on
Mm-hmm.
the catamaran. So that was forward sailing. And then I've made Forward WIP for water impact protection, and that was 2015 and after. The start was not easy because foiling at that time was just a niche, micro niche. I mean, we could we could sell product to maybe 300 people around the world could manage to use our products because not so many people were foiling. It was really the start of foiling, and the big step was wing surfing. And
Mm.
this is all about your podcast. I mean, this wing sport is a revolution. It's the first sport that is bringing foiling to the mass. Before, it was only a niche of the people being able to do moth sailing, these big America's Cup catamarans, even
Ah, good point. You're right.
kite foiling was
Yep.
starting, but again, who can kite foil? I mean, it's not so easy. But
It's
then
tough.
suddenly,
Yeah.
wing foiling, it's been this new sport, fantastic. I mean, I thank the guys that really did design this sport. I mean, the first time I experienced wing foiling, I was like yelling and saying, "Wow, what a cool sport!
Yeah, us
What
too.
it's a
Yeah.
revolution. I mean, I was so happy. And it was during COVID, and we've been lucky in Switzerland. We could still enjoy the lake, and that was the best time of my life. Yes, really enjoying wing
Oh, so
foiling.
that's where you was that your first
Yes.
time on a foil?
No, I mean I did a bit of windsurf foiling
Okay. All
because
right.
yes, it was a little bit the evolution, and I did a lot of catamaran foiling, so sailing on foils with catamaran. But in 2020, I had the chance to get a wing and a foil, and being on the water, and fantastic, fantastic time, fantastic because it was
Hmm.
working immediately. Immediately, I picked it up, and I said, "Wow, that's a cool sport, really, really cool sport." I mean, I was doing a lot of snowboarding, doing some. We are doing foiling behind the boat, trying to do wake foiling behind the boat. So I could
Hmm.
I could manage foiling on the board quite well. But it was just fantastic to do this association between a foil aboard and this wing, mind blowing.
So then, obviously, your brain's starting to turn and starting to think, and how did you guys come up with your first concepts for protection in wing foiling? Because like in biking and skiing and everything else, it's pretty much customized now to everybody wears a helmet. Everybody has certain specific safety gear that they wear, and it's been adopted by the mainstream. Kiting, very rarely do we see people wear helmets, even though they should, because their impacts, when the impact happens, is pretty severe. Windsurfing, not a ton, and now wing foiling on the tour, it's mandatory because you got foils, you got all this stuff. Like,
Yeah, very
so
interesting.
what was your first, yeah, thoughts about all that
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah, yeah, very interesting. Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, so what happens is, and this is why I started this brand. Is, normally when you get into a sport, you are a beginner, and if the sport is a little bit dangerous, then you start to wear protection not to hurt yourself. This is normal, okay? And when you start to manage the sport good, then you start to remove your protection because it's less dangerous, or it's not dangerous anymore, and then you don't have any
Mm-hmm.
protection. So this is a normal path for a sport, and this is why people wear helmets at the beginning and not later on. And this is why protection sometimes are linked to something that is not so cool. But when you are starting to
Mm.
go one step further in a sport where you push the limit of the sport, and it's exactly what happened in bicycle and in skiing, when the guys started to go downhill mountain biking at 80, 100 kilometer or 60 miles. And they had to have protection because they were not just doing a little bit of a tour, with daddy and mommy
Mm.
around their house. It was like serious downhill. Same as road cycling. I mean, when the guys started to race, and they were like a peloton, and it was like 80 guys very close to each other, pushing the limit of cycling close to each other, they had to have protection. So, and what happens is when the pro start to wear protection because they fear about their life, and they want to protect themselves, that's a game changer. Because when the pro adopting that, all the brands are working to make the pro happy. So they are designing not things for beginners where we don't care, you have a big helmet and, yeah, take this mushroom, it's going to be okay. No, no. The pro, it has to fit well, it has to be light. And this is when we are investing money and R&D to create a great product, a great protective product. This is what happened in winter sport and cycling. When the pro embrace protection, uh, this is going to the mass, because the mass says
Mm.
you have
Okay.
the betters. I mean, if you have the best using protection, then the better said, I need protection. Because you would be stupid saying I don't need protection. I mean, everybody wants to protect himself. And if it looks cool
Mm-hmm.
and if the product is great, then you will like it. And this is exactly what happened with those two sports. So then the better started to buy protection, And then you have 40% of the market having protection. Then the other 60 say, well, we are stupid. We are looking stupid. Now we need to have protection as well. And then the whole market gets protection. So this is the path. And I didn't watch that in these two sports and other sports as well. As soon as the pro are wearing protection for good reasons, and you have great product for them, then the rest of the market will follow.
They're gonna
and
match them.
and they want to have the same. And who don't want to have protection, especially if it feels good, it protects from the sun. It's just normal, you know. So this is what happened with water sports, and that will happen. And this is why it's growing now very fast. It's because from the this America's Cup time, where the guys saying I need protection, and because we did design great helmets, great looking helmets, great colors, light and tight fit, snug fit, and also great impact vests, then the better guys embrace that and say I need that, and step by step it really comes to the whole market. And this is what's happening right now in windsurfing. It's mandatory for racing, and you understand why. I mean, those guys that are racing so close to each other, it's really dangerous. And then for everyone, if you can provide something that is good looking, light, and good fitting, they need protection. They need protection for the sun. They need protection for not to bump the board and so on. So this is why people are buying more and more protection. And you need to have the good protection. It's not easy to make a good protection. So this is how protection is spreading into a sport. And this is exactly what is happening
Mass
right
adopted.
now. Exactly.
Oh, fascinating. Okay. So as soon as the cool factor and the danger factor sits in with the professionals, then you're going to have more and more people who will then start to adopt and follow that trend. So talking helmets, obviously shell, there's the interior of the helmet. What goes into making a good helmet?
Yeah, that's a good question. So basically you've got, it actually depends on the speed and the energy that you're going to have during the shock. So you've got people that are going to foil and wing foil at below around 20 knots, 10, 20 knots, 22 knots. So I would say the same as when you are windsurfing, when you are doing all those activities. This is more or less the range that you are sailing, riding for. In that case, you need just a water sport helmet. The water sport helmet is a helmet like that, where you have a soft foam inside. So it's a foam that can bounce back. Basically, it has memory foam, and it's like a little bit like a bumper of a car. And you're gonna shock, it's gonna come back, and then you can shock it many times. So this is what is called a kayak helmet. It's coming from the whitewater, and with this helmet, you have a great protection when you are around 20 knots, enjoying your riding. Okay, so water sports.
Okay.
Then, if you push a bit more, like this IQ foil guys, this is Luke doing IQ foil. This is also the guys doing kite foil. They are more like in the 30 kind of speed range. It's much faster. I mean, 30 knots, it's more than 50 kilometer. 55, it start to be really hard shock. They are racing, crossing each other as they are going upwind. That start to be very serious. In that case, you need a bit more protection. So we have developed this kind of helmet. So this helmet is made not with EPP or EVA foam. It's made with an EPS foam. So inside you have the same kind of foam that you can find in a bicycle helmet. So it's a foam that is crashing very good, but only one time. So if you have a big crash, it will protect yourself. It will break. It has to break. It's very important it breaks, because when it breaks, it will dissipate the energy, and this will protect your brain. So that's the helmet you want to have, and this is basically this helmet. The Pro WIP is what most riders are using for IQ foil or kite foiling or NACRA. You have this NACRA foiling for the Olympics. This is the kind of helmet you are using. It's super light, snug fit, and very high protection, 3 times more than this one. So when this one protects kind of a fall, like if your head would fall from 50 centimeter, this one protects your head if your head would fall for 1.5 meter. So 3 times more.
Oh, wow.
3 times more protection with this helmet. And then the pinnacle of protection is this helmet. So this is what they are using in the America's Cup. It's the ultimate protection, like what the skiers, like in winter sport, this is what they're asking. It's not only shock absorption, but it's also penetration. So you may have, a foil, you may have like a stick, may get into your helmet. This is why the holes are much smaller, and also the shape is much rounder because you go so fast, you go at 40 knots. So this helmet is made to go 30, 40 knots. And in that case, when you are turning your head, because of this round shape, the drag will remain quite good, and the penetration in the air will be good, and you will be performing well, because when you are sailing or riding at 40 knots, that means that you have almost 50, 55 knots of wind in your body. So your body start to be really a brake. The drag is the square of the speed. So the more you go quick, the more the drag is present, and really the body, like in kite foiling, for instance, we made big studies. Kite foiling, the body represents 50% of the drag. So you really need to think the way you stand on the kite foil, and the way you act, because this is a big part of the performance. And here we are so lucky to have Max. So Max Mather is from Singapore, and he's the world champion. So he's riding with us, and he's giving us a lot of tips, a lot of feedback. It's an incredible athlete, giving us a lot of feedback. So this is the pinnacle of water sports. This is the crossover. It's a helmet that you can go skiing with it, and you can go windsurfing at 40 knots. Antoine Albo is using it for speed records. You can use it kite foiling. I mean, Alex Cazer is using it also when he made his records. And this is what SailGP and America's Cup guys are using. Super high protective helmets. And of course, what can do the best can do the least. And then, so if you are 20 knots and you want to have the best protection, you get this one, and it's all good, So this is just to give a kind of ranking.
What makes it the most protective? Is it the material used on the inside? Is it the shell casing used? What makes it better than... Number one is pretty easy to understand. Like for those that are just listening in, like number one is just obviously foam, and it's a good shell protecting. And then it goes to a harder level where it can be one impact, which I think we're all used to using for ski and bike. What is taking it from a level 2 to a level 3?
It's two things. So the shell, what makes a helmet good is the shell and the foam. So the foam is to dampen the shock. The shell is to spread the load. So the shell will be for the number 2, level 2 and level 3. The shell will be fused with the foam together, whereas for level 1, this EVA foam is just glued into the helmet in the basic way. So the foam is just the bumper, and that's it. So the shell has not big function. We have even one helmet that is only foam actually. So then level 2 and level 3, you have EPS. So this is this new foam that's made from polystyrene that has a very high shock absorption, and you have this PC shell that is a micro shell, super thin. So that's why it's so light. And it's fused on the EPS, so that when you have an impact, there is a kind of delamination of the shell on the foam, a little bit like a surfboard, where the epoxy and with the fiber is glued to the foam, and it's creating a sandwich. It's creating a stiff system, and when you shock it, it will dampen the shock and crack only in a small spot. So that's the way it goes, and this is what makes the level 2 and level 3. So it's part of the thickness and part of the way of the construction.
Oh, interesting. Okay, no, that's cool, because I think I have one helmet, but 5 or 6, 7 years ago now. I like it because it's like a fluorescent green, so you can see me. but it might be time for a new helmet.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not pushing, but normally, I mean, every 5 years is a good time
Okay,
to
that's your
think
limit.
about. I mean, this is what we recommend. I mean, it depends how much you use it. I mean, if it stays on the
That's true.
beach, and it gets UV all day long, and you don't care about it too much, then in 5 years it will be totally good. Ready to be changed. If you care about it very nicely and maybe you use it less, then you can last longer. But normally 5 years is the good time to change your helmet. What is very
Okay.
important is to wear correctly your helmet. So you have to adjust the strap band. I mean, I see so many people with the strap band here, so then at the first fall, the helmet will fly away. So you need to adjust your chin strap so that it's 1 centimeter to your chin here, and also the location of the dividers. You have some dividers on the side. You see it. So this is what we call a divider. So this
Mm-hmm.
part has to fit below your ear nicely, so the helmet is stable on the head. You need to have a
Oh, all
you
right.
need to have a fit system on
Yep.
the back. So the fit system is very important to hold also and have a snug fit. And then you need to adjust the chin in a very nice way so that it fit well to your head. So if you are well adjusted, it's way better than if you have the best helmet without any adjustment, because then it's useless.
Now for wing foiling, because you do have a sharp foil. Last year, or the year before, we were on a lake on Vancouver Island. My buddy didn't wear his, and his board flipped over and it fell, and the foil caught him in the back of the head, just above the brainstem, just where it starts to get soft and stuff. And it caught him there, and he had to rip to the hospital. So there's a bunch of different things that come into play. You have ear protection on the water, so like whether or not you have padded stuff over your ears, and then how far down that helmet goes to protect you from any impacts on the side. Like engineering all that kind of thing must be pretty fun. Like how do you engineer a product like that? Do you make a list of all the things, or like how does that process go from thought to product?
Yeah, I mean, working with the providers is very interesting. I mean, especially
Makes sense.
this America's Cup riders, that was really very interesting. So what they say is basically, first of all, you need to protect your vital area, and this is your head, and this is your torso. So this is where you really need to have protection, because you have your heart and you have really your key elements. If you cut a bit of your arm, it's going to be painful, but it's not a big deal unless you cut one of your arteria. Same for the
Mm-hmm.
legs. The neck is a difficult topic, because the neck is moving that much, and for me, the mission of protection is not to restrain your practice, because if you are into an armor where you are totally locked in, first of all, you are not going to use it because it's not fun, and also it's going to be dangerous because you cannot really turn your head in the right way to see around you and to enjoy your and be safe on the water. So there are some parts that are very difficult to protect. It's the neck, but the torso and the head is quite easy to protect, and you have to do that for sure. So then after, you limit the risk basically, and yes, you will still be able to hit in these spots, but then in that case, when you fall, you do that naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So there are things to try to limit the risk, but the zero risk is not existing, and you still have the problem. So right now we are working. It's quite interesting. I mean, I think you are doing windsurfing, right? You are wing.
Mm-hmm. Both.
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
Um, Something very interesting these days, and we did work on that, is the whiplash. So basically, when you are windsurfing with Finn, you go full speed, and then there is a point where you feel the crash. You start to have the board start to do start like that, or the fin start to spin out, and then this is the time where you eject. You remove your harness, and then jump out and then quit the board. And normally it's going quite
Oh
okay.
yeah.
You know that, right?
Yes, definitely. Lots of times.
But then the next level is when you are foiling, and you are foiling full speed, And there, it's the different problem. First of all, you are like 50 centimeter above the water. And if you have a weed or if you have a ventilation in your foil, you don't see the foil coming. It's 0-1. It's 1-0 immediately because the foil lose the momentum. And then suddenly your board is doing that. The foil catch back the grip and act as an anchor. So your board is stopping like 40 knots to 0 in 1 second. And what you do is you have your hand on your boom. You have no time to do anything with your harness, and you pivot. So basically your whole body pivots. And if you look at videos from Antoine Albo or Björn de Kerbeck when they are doing their world record attempt and they are crashing, it's exactly what happened. You turn on your back and you fall on the back and you are bouncing on the water, like ricocheting. Bouncing on the water because it's very hard at 40 knots, and your head is doing bing, 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 bing. So you have this big hit from the back. We call it whiplash, and this is really a problem that even in IQ Fall we've got some guys not losing conscience but having some concussion. So it's a serious topic that we are working on right now. So we are making now extra pad inside the helmet to avoid or to reduce this whiplash impact for the head, and we are working also on neck protection. So yes, right now there is a request and there is a need, and we are now working on that to create like they did in Formula One, what they are doing in motocross, trying to bring something for the neck to protect the neck from this whiplash to like big extension and so on. So it's not too much about the cut, but try to hold your neck. Not easy.
Avoid whiplash.
Yeah, exactly. But not easy because like in motorcycling or in F1, you are looking straight, and you turn your head not too much. Whereas in sailing, you are doing like that, and you are turning everywhere to see where the other guys are at the buoys, and that's why you need to have protection, but still giving a certain freedom. So it's a nice project. Nice project.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt. I don't doubt. So from going to helmets to impact vests, how obviously it has changed a lot over the years from your first ones that you made for sailing. What are some of the key elements that people would want to look into if they're looking to buy an impact vest? Obviously, a lot of them are not flotation devices, but they do work as a flotation device. So they do protect you and then help you swim back to shore at the same time.
Yeah.
Some have pockets, some have safety things built in. So I can have a knife, I can have a phone, I can have all these things, because now we just had Steve Toby on from Maui, and he was doing these massive downwinders, and his vest that he has now is completely different than the vest that he would have just to go out for a casual ride. All of that stuff kind of jumps into mind that would be fascinating to talk about.
Totally. So first of all, from the impact, you need to have the protection. So the foam needs to be designed to really protect. So you don't have this white basic foam, that is just for buoyancy that you get in sailing jackets. You have like a dampening foam that is always based on EVA. So this soft foam that is a little bit like the helmet. And it's often thermoform, So thermoforming is allowing the flex, because if it's just one piece, it would be too stiff. You look like an army guy, but you want to have flexibility. So this is why we made this thermoforming around. So protection, and then we at WIP we said we need flotation. So all our impact vests are 50 Newton. And I believe we are one of the only company doing that. So all our impact vests are certified for buoyancy 50 Newton, which is the European standard that is basically worldwide approved. There is only in US that you need to have a Coast Guard approved one that is much bigger. But when you are doing windsurfing or windsurfing, kite falling, you can use a C 50 Newton. It's mandatory to have this Coast Guard approved for sailing, so it's a bit different. So our impact vests are 50 Newton buoyancy approved, legal, and they are also tested for impact. Then for all our impact vests, exactly what you said, we are from Swiss, so it's a little bit like a Swiss knife. So you need to have the big pocket. So look at that. It's a huge pocket where I can put you can put my Leatherman, my knife. I can put some energy bar. I can put a rope. I can put a whistle. I can put all the safety gear here, even my mobile phone, into a waterproof bag. So this is big pockets. You've got pockets here on the shoulders, and with a hole. This is for a communication system. So you can slide inside the communication system linking to your helmet and speak to your friends around. So that's quite interesting. On the back, we have also a pocket where you can put some water blades, so blader, so kind of camelback inside this back pocket. So you have water.
Oh, interesting.
That's very important because in foiling, like wing foiling, you go on the water and you go out less frequently because especially when there is a shore break or when the water is shallow, you need to walk a long time to access to deep water, or you need to be very careful when you are going through the shore break. So people, when they are going into the water, this is for 1-2 hours. Whereas when you are doing windsurfing or kite surfing, you would go more often back to the shore to have something to drink or have a chat with your friend and come back to the water. So having water with you is really good because you get hydration while you are foiling for 2 hours. So that's a good point. And then what makes unique for wing surfing is this hook. So you say we are integrating into this impact vest that is a life jacket. So it's a 50 Newton life jacket. We are integrating a hook for the harness. We have been early believer of harnesses for wing. Since 21, actually, we have a waist belt with a hook in our line. So we were one of the early adopter. We have designed this hook. It's made of polyamide, so it's a plastic hook that is very round, so it will not damage your board. It can also fold a little bit on the side, so when you are on your belly, it's not going to hurt yourself. And as you can see, it's located not too low, so it's located close to your arms, so it's very easy to catch the rope. And so that's a great system. You just have one piece to wear. It's this harness that is actually an impact vest and a flotation. And you've got on the back reinforcements, and you have here a place to put your board leash. So we believe that the board leash should be attached to your waist and not to your feet. We believe it's a good point because
I like that.
When you have the board leash attached to your feet, that means you need more or less 2.5 meter of leash. That means either you are using this coil leash that is a bit annoying because it can create knots. Either you are using just a rope leash, and the rope leash will fall into the water. Even you fly at 50, 60 centimeter, the leash is still in the water, bouncing your board and so on. So if you attach your leash to your waist here on the back, it will never be on your feet. You have your feet totally free to walk around on the board, and it's a great place to be fixed on the board. And on the front, this is where we like to attach our wing leash. So we have a wing leash that we attach. So this is the wing leash, and we attach it on the front to this one, and it's great because when you have a wing leash to your wrist, the problem is it's asymmetrical. So one time you have your front hand close to the leaning edge, and the wing leash is very long, or on the other attack, you have the wing leash on the back, and then it's going straight through your handles, right? So it's asymmetrical.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you have a location of your leash on your belly that is symmetrical, so it goes on one way or the other, then the distance to the leaning edge is much shorter. So then you can have a much shorter leash. And especially we are using this kind of, it's a special webbing that is actually stretching 2 times. So you can extend 2 times. So if you have a 1 meter leash, it will become 2 meter. And so this long stretch is very good because you want something that is not too long while you are using it, but you need to have something that really can stretch when your wing is upside down and you need to turn it. You go to the end of your wing and you want to flip it over. And in that case, this kind of very stretchable leash are very good. So we found only these guys in France. Actually, they are specialists into webbing making, and they are making this very, very interesting leash that is super tight. You see, super tight when it's not stretched, but then can stretch 2 times and becomes totally flat when it's stretched. So very unique leash that you can fix on your impact vest. And
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So this is what we would recommend as a perfect setup to enjoy winging, is getting nothing to your hands, nothing to your feet, and really everything to your around your waist, so that you are very compact, and then you can do any kind of turn. It's great.
I started doing that in the winter because my mitts were too thick over my thick neoprene wetsuit. So I wasn't able to put the leash over my wrist. So I started attaching it to my waist harness. And I actually quite liked that. And if my board leash faced backwards and my wing leash faced forwards, it kept everything pretty clean and organized. And it allowed my feet, obviously, feet are my favorite to have free, because then you can do foot switches and you're not getting all tangled up.
Yeah.
But then wrist as well, it helped a little bit. Not that you're going to have a lot of forearm pump, but I've seen a couple times when your cuff isn't big enough, then it's opened, and then I've lost my wing once.
Yeah.
Because my cuff wasn't on properly because my suit was too thick, and then I lost my wing, and then it just took off down the leg. So those are some pretty important points.
Yeah.
So looking at, because you're manufacturing, are you making helmets, impact vests, leashes, any of the current products that you have for other companies?
Actually not. So we only do we do only collaboration on helmets. Actually, we've been approached by a few companies. The first one is Enzis. I mean, you had Carl on your podcast, and
yes.
and Carl has an incredible rider. He's Bals. I mean, everybody knows Bals. Just so nice guy, so talented, and he's the best ambassador for helmets because he really likes helmets. He likes to wear helmet. He feels comfortable wearing a helmet, and he can push. You know what he's doing. He's really pushing the limit of the sport, going upside down and crazy tricks, and he's not afraid of crashing. He's showing the good tricks, and he's showing also the crashes in his in Instagram and social networks. And so he's a great guy. He has
awesome.
always, he's awesome. He's always has this helmet on. So Carl was smart. We were talking with Carl and we said, okay, let's do a pro model for Carl, for Bals, as it's really good. And so we made the Bals pro model for him. And that's working very well. So we are doing a helmet for Enzis. And also we did a collab with Ion. So Ion is also a great team. They came to us. They say, okay, guys, you are specialists into water protection. We are a bit struggling with helmets. We are more into neoprene. We are more into other things, but helmets is a bit of a struggle. So then they said, okay, please, let's collab and please do the helmet for us. So we made a complete line of helmets for Ion. It's a great reference because it's really a leader in water sport equipment, and it's quite cool. That, they came to us. I mean, we are a very small company. They are big, Boards and More, big company, but they are smart. They said, let's go to the specialists and let's team up with the guys know what they are doing, and together we did a great line. So we believe in the shop, for instance, the shop would take the iron line, together with the rest of their equipment and the line, and they will take the specialist whip as the core brand to provide these unique pieces. Like I said, I mean, with this very specific helmets with the flex and so on. So we have few helmets that we keep for us, and we have few helmets that we are collaborating with other company like Ion and this. And altogether, it works very well, and we have a good presence in the shop like that. The goal is to protect as many people as possible. That's the goal, huh? So that's why, I mean, we are not so well known. So that's why we want to spread protection across the boundaries. Yes.
Well, yeah, even breaking down now, because I didn't even know this, the different levels of, like the 3 levels of helmets, and looking at because my impact vest, my zipper's exploded, so I'm due for a new one. But looking what I could do because in winter I've been going to Mexico, so I'll do 6 to 7 kilometer downwinders. And a lot of the time I'm getting hungry. So there's all these little pieces that I'm looking at that impact vest that would be beneficial. And actually, it's a good time to introduce. We're going to be doing a wing foil expedition in Mexico this winter.
Wow.
Where we're going to have 3 30K downwinders, boat assisted. But having that where I could have the walkie-talkie on, because I'll be one of the coaches, with all the safety pieces and little things I could have in there, will be something that our team's going to need. So thanks for kind of educating me on all these different new things, because safety is important, and the only way you're going to have a good time is if you stay safe out there.
Clear. I mean, really, this downwing foiling is really a sport that it's a niche, but it's really increasing a lot in Switzerland, everywhere in Europe, basically. And yes, people are getting on Lake of Geneva. I mean, you can reach the shore quite quickly, and you are lucky because you can reach the shore, catch a train, and go back to your original spot, because you're always downwind foiling. So you can see some people in the train, with their foil in wetsuits. Say, what's going on? I just made a Lausanne Geneva trip by foiling. Sometimes they are following a boat. We have this big boat on the lake. And they are catching the wake, and they follow the boat for 2 or 3 stops, and then doing like 20-kilometer foiling. So that's quite amazing. But in the real sea, I mean, in Mediterranean Sea, I mean, you had the Air One. I mean, you had him also on your podcast. I mean, he did cross between France and Corsica. I mean. To this Corsica island, so long ride, but also everyone is getting 1 mile away from the shore, and suddenly you are in deep water. I mean, it's not total; it's completely different than being close to the shore. So it's a different sport, and you're absolutely right. You need to have the right equipment in terms of safety, because it's so easy to feel bad, to feel suddenly weak, lost, or whatever. So you need to have a little bit of water, energy. You need to have a walkie-talkie or VHF. You need to have some food with you. You really need to be prepared, and you will not go there just for without anything. So that's very important.
Because I was talking to Steve there, and he said he had a boat support with him one day, but the swell built that it was 10-foot troughs, and he couldn't see his support boat.
Yeah,
he just couldn't see them, and he had a ski, like a beacon with him. He had his phone. He had a radio. He had all these different things now that he's built up, because he realized that, especially in downwind foiling, like wing foiling, if you're close to shore surrounded by friends, it might be a different situation, especially if you can see each other all the time. But as soon as you start getting to bigger conditions where it's overhead, you can lose somebody and you might never see them. So that's one thing that he mentioned, that it's like he had a huge boat with him and he couldn't even see the boat because they were in opposite troughs of like 10, 15-foot swell. It was crazy.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you mostly you never go alone. You go with 2 or 3 of your friends, but then the distance becomes very quickly, because someone is falling and you don't want to fall down. You don't want to stop, because catching a wave again is a kind of a challenge. So you keep foiling, and suddenly the distance becomes huge between two people. When you are winging, I mean, you are standing up, you have your wing, and you can really cruise around, and you stay quite compact group winging together. But down foiling, as soon as you stop, the other guy is keeping going at 10 to 15 knots, and the distance become very big, and so that's a big problem. So yes, safety is number one priority. And interesting is there is this new sport. I mean, I guess you have that also in your place. We call it deflate. So what we do is we start with our equipment, foil equipment. So down foiling equipment. We have a small wing, like maybe 3 meters, and we go upwind for an hour or an hour and a half. Up, we up. Then we deflate the wing. We put that into the backpack. And then we catch a paddle, or we pad the hand paddle, catch a wave, and go downwind back to the original spot. So that's pretty cool because the foil is big, so you don't need to have a big wing. Even with a 3 meter, it's okay with 20 knots because you just pump a little bit and you catch the foil. You go upwind, and then you will reach your original point. So that's really something that is growing in Europe a lot, and I'm sure around your place as well. It's super cool to do.
Oh, yeah. I saw a few guys. Well, they were doing the wing drops this year.
Yes, that's another one.
But now with a longer trip or whatever, that could be definitely super fun to do that, actually, because all the lakes that we go on, we could easily do that. Yeah. Go up a couple hours,
exactly.
Take your time, and then just downwind the whole time. Yeah, that would be amazing.
So the wing dropper is cool, but you do that maybe on 100, 200 meters. Though you have hard time to have your wing would drag the same speed as you. So really packing the wing on your back is a great way to then go downwind. And cool sport.
What is coming up down the pipeline for 2025?
Yeah, we are working on few projects. I mean, 2024 already. Something that I didn't mention that is quite interesting is the harness line. I mean, that's a big topic,
Yes.
Because harness line, you've got this. You are pumping, and then the harness is bumping into your face. That's quite annoying. Then when you are tacking. Most of the time, the harness line will catch your head or your helmet. So what we have done in WIP is we have created this one. So it's a stretchable harness line. So very easy to install. So basically here you have a loop. So you loop it on one handle. And here you have a buckle, a magnetic buckle. And you have another piece that goes to the next handle. So you will loop the other piece on the next handle. And then you will magnet lock your line like that. Okay, so you see it's much shorter than a normal one because it can really stretch. And also with this buckle, you can adjust the length. So you have 15 centimeter of length adjustment. So you see extend it as well. So this locking system is interesting because if you are caught below your wing, because what happens sometimes is the end of your wing is catching the water and your wing is flipping like that. So it's doing one turn and then you fall down and you are below your wing, bit panicking, and because it did one turn, it's a bit stuck into your hook. Then you will catch this small box, this small buckle. You open it and then it releases and you are safe. So it's a very interesting piece, very small, very light, quite inexpensive, and easy to install because it's made of two pieces. So you can loop the first one, you can loop the second one and connect, and then it's on your wing. So in let's say 15 seconds, you can attach that on your wing. So great system. So it's called the Wing Line 2.0. So that's our new wing line for 24. That goes very well with this innovative wing impact vest. You see, so
yeah, I like the look of that impact vest. Yeah,
so
it looks fairly thin too, right? Like it's not very thick. No.
It's quite thin because it's very compact, very dampening. We are using a special foam that is really dampening a lot. So it's really thin, very compact. Yes, very compact.
Yeah, very
So
nice.
that's for 24. For 25, we are working on different things, and one of the direction we are taking, we are working on more eyewear. So we are specialists in eyewear protection. So we are doing this kind of goggles made for water sports. So this goggle has a specific here band that is made from neoprene. So when the water is flowing, it will not go into your eyes. It will make a waterproof sealing on the top of the goggle. When on the bottom of the goggle, you have this soft foam. The lens is one lens only, so you don't get the double lens of a snow winter goggle, because then the water is getting in between the two lenses. It's really not good. So here it's one lens only. It's polarized, and it has a great mirror coating, so it really reflects all the light from the sea. And so that's a good one to wear with helmet, because it has a very good you see fitting together, and you get a perfect seal. So more and more people are using these goggles. We are at Defi Wind. I don't know if you heard about Defi Wind. It's a huge regatta in south of France, and we get 40 knots. Yes. The wind is blowing, and your eyes are totally destroyed. And in that case, it's great to have such goggles because you protect from the sand, from the wind, and also from the sun. So that's a good one. And then finally, we are working. Well, it's a secret, so I'm not sure I can share that. But okay, let's give you the very exclusive time. So we are working on surfing helmets. So in water sports, we believe surfing deserve something new, because it's time really to think about it. You've seen some guys in pipeline. I mean, you may see Kay Laney crashing in pipeline and breaking his helmet in two, having concussion. So it's time to do something new, and we're working on that. We'll create something new coming for 25 for surfing. That's going to be very exciting.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah.
So it's good, because we are the brand is trying to work for sailing, working for board sports and surfing, you see. So it's not so easy to cross over all those sports. We can do, because we have just one aim. It's water protection. We want to protect people from impact in water sports. And this is the common line across all those sports. And this is why we can achieve that. And we are very happy to do that for all those riders across that's our mission.
Yeah, no, Remi, thanks for taking the time and kind of just walking me through this whole process and introducing your company to everybody. I think 50% of our viewers are out in Canada, US, North America. So, and I did meet, I think, a few members that were there at your booth last year at AWSI. Yeah. That's kind of how we got all connected. So, yeah, thanks for taking the time today and introducing it. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on? Because I know we've educated me quite a bit, which is, if I'm educated, that means there'll be a lot of cool information getting out there too.
Yes. Well, thank you very much for having me on your podcast. It's very, very interesting. Very, very happy to share this work, this passion, and also educate people on protection. I think now, if we are doing a good job, if you are forgetting that you have protection, then we are winning. I mean, this is really our aim. You feel comfortable. We are your protecting angel, and we want you to feel great on water, going very, very fast, progressing in your sport, pushing the limits. That's our mission, and very happy to share that with you today. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if anybody wants to learn more about your company, what's the easiest way for them to do so?
Yeah, contact us on the social media or on our website. So forwardwip.com. We have a contact at forwardwip.com. This is the best way. I mean, I have a great team with me. I'm not alone. I'm working with my wife, Sophie. I'm working with a lot of engineers, designers, passionate people working with me to create this project. And we feel we all happy in this mission. And they will answer you. I will answer you. We are really easy to connect. And and getting support, feedback, and informations.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thanks, my friend. Thanks for joining me
Thank
today.
you.
And looking forward to chatting with you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.